Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I'm returning to you this afternoon for the Blink-182 One More Time Part 2 review. So I'm just going to call it a review for this one because basically with what I listened to with this one, it's only like 8 songs off this release. So I'm going to discuss what I'm going to be talking about in this 8-track review because I've already heard all 19 songs already. So basically, I'm going to discuss what I listened to for the tracks that I've listened to and let you know my thoughts on these new 8 songs. 2 of them we've already heard of the 8 tracks, so let's dive in to this video. So No Fun was one of the singles that came out 2 weeks ago, and it was a pretty strong track. I like the way what's his name? Tom DeLonge. Yeah, Tom DeLonge. I was starting to forget, so please forgive me on that. I was about ready to end the video for a second just to recollect my thoughts. Tom DeLonge is what I meant to say. His vocals are actually pretty good in this track. This track was a banger, so this is a 5 out of 5. All in My Head was actually a pretty good track too. It's the 21st track on the record. And it was a pretty strong track for what I listened to. So I like Mark Hoppus's vocals in this track, and just the drumming in it is pretty strong. And even Tom DeLonge singing in the second verse sounded pretty good. So was really digging this. So 5 out of 5. Can't Go Back is going to get a 4.5 out of 5. It's a strong track, but not one of my favorites. I had a few critiques with the track, with how it executed. But overall, Mark Hoppus didn't sound bad in this track, and Tom DeLonge sounded good to an extent with the backing vocals. But it's just the track felt a little slow and not to my liking too much. So 4.5 out of 5. Every Other Weekend's a pretty good track. It had some catchy chorus, but it's just the verses were a little hit or miss with how the pacing was for the verses. It just felt a little slow and iffy. So 4.75 out of 5. Everyone, Everywhere. It's a strong track. I wasn't sure if I was going to get used to this one, but it's pretty good. I like Tom DeLonge singing in it, and just how Mark Hoppus is singing in the background too. So this was a pretty catchy track. 5 out of 5. If You Never Left is a pretty good song, actually. I had to really listen to it to see if it was going to be a grower. And I think coming back to it, it'll most likely be a grower. So this is a strong track in its own way, so 5 out of 5 for If You Never Left. Really enjoyed this track. And number 26, which is the 7th song, second to last song, is One Night Stand. This track was pretty good. I really enjoyed this one too. Tom DeLonge singing in it is pretty catchy, so I really like how it's structured, the melody wise, and just drum work. It's pretty good, and execution wise, this track performed pretty well, even with Mark Hoppus singing in some moments in the track. So 5 out of 5. And then finally, we get to Take Me In, which is the closing track for this part 2 release for One More Time, which is the closing track for the 8-track songs we just got recently. 2 of them were singles, the other 6 were just regular songs. So pretty much, I'd give Take Me In a 5 out of 5. It's a great outro track to close this official record, and I think this is gonna be something that I'll really remember. This track, Tom DeLonge singing in it is pretty strong. And just execution-wise, even with Mark Hoppus singing in the second verse, it sounds really good. The chorus is really enjoyable with how Tom DeLonge's vocals range from one high to another, and it sounds pretty good. Very strong track, very underrated, and a 5 out of 5 for me. Overall, production, mixing, and execution wise, I think One More Time Part 2 for the 8 tracks that we've already gotten as of now is actually really good. It's a really good release. Not one of my personal favorites of the year, but it is going to be on the best albums of 2024 for this whole release, because I know 19 of the songs pretty much were pretty strong. So the whole record's getting a 9 out of 10, because I've really returned to this record quite exponentially, and I'll continue to still return to it because it's a very memorable record. I know some people have their opinions about One More Time with how some of the songs sounded, but keep in mind, Blink-182 does what they do because they want to entertain their audience and try to put out something that's old school kind of stuff. This one felt like an old school throwback that we've gotten from their previous albums in the early days, from like 2000s to 2003. So it's very enjoyable stuff, but I think with this track, I think this whole part 2 release, I think I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I'm sorry if I said track. This whole part 2 for the 8 songs we just got for this deluxe edition for One More Time, it's getting a 9 out of 10. It's pretty strong. I recommend you guys listen to it this Friday. It's worth listening to. And with that being said, 9 out of 10 for Blink-182 One More Time Part 2 for this release, this digital deluxe edition. I think it's a digital deluxe edition. I don't know if they're going to have a CD version for it. Probably not, but who knows. Maybe in due time they will. And that'd be something I'd look forward to listening to if they have a part 2 CD version. But who knows. So 9 out of 10 for Blink-182 One More Time Part 2. Thank you for watching this review this afternoon.